What is Operation Winter Shield, and how are your agents working it here?
So Operation Winter Shield is an initiative that is nationwide, kind of created by our cyber division back at headquarters to do a real concentrated surge at the beginning of the year to try to increase and improve our cybersecurity really across the board. This is a threat that faces everybody, whether it's large organizations, companies, small businesses, or even individuals. And one of the things that we found really effective is just taking a few simple high impact actions that can really raise the cost on cyber actors and adversaries in doing what they do and having success, and reduce the benefits they see from that. And that's something that's really going to have broad-based effects across the country and in communities throughout the United States.
What are some of the common trends right now, some of the threats that you're seeing come through your office right now?
Right. I can tell you probably the biggest thing that we see, and this has been true for years now, is ransomware. It's a real problem. It's pervasive. We see it a lot, and has real world impacts on people from large organizations down to individuals. So that's one of the things that a lot of these things are going to help with. It's going to make it more difficult for you to be a victim, and going to help you recover faster if you are a victim of ransomware. But I also want to really focus on a second threat, which is kind of that pervasive long-term threat from really sophisticated adversaries, particularly nation states. They are often pursuing our most important cutting-edge technologies, which there are a lot of here in the state of Washington. They're targeting our critical infrastructure to potentially have effects on our populations. And they are going after those really high value targets, ones that can help them steal not just from that company, but from companies across the world. And we have a lot of those companies here in Washington as well.
Well, I think you hit it right on the head there with, we have aerospace, we have ports, we have all sorts of critical infrastructure here in the Northwest. How do you prevent intrusion, spying, and potentially a cyber attack on something like critical infrastructure here?
Right. So our strategy is outreach and relationships. We want to get out and identify those most crucial entities, whether it's the power grid, whether it's water companies, municipal utilities, ports, any critical infrastructure that's serving, for example, a key military installation or a large city. We want to identify those, figure out which are at the most risk, and then go and talk to them and help them improve their cybersecurity. And really, Winter Shield is a way to do that. It's a framework for those discussions where we're talking about 10 specific areas that they can help improve their security, but it's also a way to scale that as well. We really like to, and it's very important for us to have those one-on-one conversations, but there are a lot of people we can't reach. And this is a campaign that will hopefully reach a lot of those people and cause them to take their own action to protect themselves a little better and raise the cybersecurity of critical infrastructure across the board.
Yeah, I think a lot of people see this and might ask, are we safer now than we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago? What would you say to that? Are we getting better, or are we getting more vulnerable? Right.
That's a great question. I would say it's a little bit of both. So yes, we're getting better. There are a lot more security solutions out there. People have come up with some really great technology that is simple to use and provides really great enhancements to security. We've gotten a lot better at seeing the adversaries and seeing what they're up to and identifying these attacks earlier on. And we've gotten a lot better at the incident response to map out the extent of them and recover the systems and get back to normal. So we've definitely improved on that front, but the adversary continues to innovate, continues to get better. So we've seen ever more sophisticated techniques in use by nation states, as well as just cyber criminals kind of on the virtual street, I guess you could say. We've seen a much greater scale. We've seen a lot more resources invested in that, and we've also seen an increase in what we call the attack surface. People are just more online, they're using more technology, they have more of their lives that are happening on the internet, in their phones and on their other devices, and that creates a lot of targets that their adversaries can take care of. So that's why it's important that we do something like Winter Shield so that everybody can better cover their own attack surface and take some simple actions to help mitigate that.
Yeah. What would an attack of the, that you're trying to prevent, what would it look like? I mean, just to play that out for me so the viewer at home can understand. I mean, let's say there is an attack on critical infrastructure. What is the first 24 hours, the first week? How do you respond to that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and there's no real simple answer to that because just like any critical incident or any crime, there's so many different variations of how it's done, how they get in there, what the effects are. But I will tell you the first probably 48 hours are very crucial, and it's very important to identify what's at risk, try to shut off the adversaries' access to those as much as possible right up front to mitigate the damage, to stop the bleeding. If you're talking about critical infrastructure, one of the most important things there is having a resilience, some sort of backup, where you can get the power back on, where you can get the fuel flowing, where you can get the water flowing again immediately while you're working through the more complex aspects of it, trying to map out how the adversary first got in, the extent of their access, and then really trying to understand all of that before you take action to kick them out. Because if you do that prematurely, then they're going to have a foothold in there and they're just going to be right back in.
How's AI changing this landscape? Because it used to be, I mean, we all go through the corporate security trainings and they say, look out for spelling errors, look out for this, sort of telltale signs. But it seems like AI is sort of allowing them to up their game a little bit better and mimic even what would look exactly like a legit thing coming from your company.
Right. Yeah, I would say AI is definitely having a big impact. I think we're only just starting to see the tip of the iceberg on that. I think as years go on, we're going to see a lot more impact from these things. I would say the two main things we're seeing right now are scale and manipulation of trust. So there's a term that has been around for decades now in the cybersecurity community, script kiddies, where it's people who don't have a lot of ability themselves, but they get a script that they used from somebody else that developed it, that they used to hack. AI kind of makes script kiddies obsolete in the sense that you can automate a lot of this stuff even without any technical capability yourself. So I think we're worried about a big increase in scale as AI tools are able to enable people who otherwise would not be able to engage in cybercrime to do so and really raise the background of threat in doing that. And the second part is that manipulation of trust. Almost every successful cyber attack is going to involve some sort of misplaced trust. Whether it's allowing somebody into your network who shouldn't be there or sharing information with somebody who shouldn't have it. Social engineering is another term that has been around the cybersecurity for a long time, which is one way that adversaries gain that, where they try to manipulate somebody into giving that trust where they shouldn't. AI just makes it a whole lot easier for them to do that. If you talk about a really big threat that we see called business email compromise, where people are fooled through emails into transferring money to somebody they shouldn't. One of the mitigations that we tell people is, hey, if you see something like that, call somebody on the phone to confirm that it's right. Well, now you have AI tools that can convincingly mimic somebody, even a particular person, mimic their voice, even a video call, and help build that misplaced trust that an adversary is going to manipulate. So that's a big concern, not only in terms of creating more convincing emails or messages that are going to convince somebody to do something they shouldn't, but also audio and visual as well.
This is certainly your background, cybercrime.
Right.
That's where you came from here at the FBI. Are you surprised by how quickly things are advancing in the last few years?
I would say a little bit. I mean, I've been around this community for probably 20 years or more, and I've definitely seen it come from much more simple threats to the really complex and threats that we're facing nowadays, but also the high level of sophistication that adversaries are using. But it is somewhat surprising that it has advanced so quickly in the past few years, and I think we can credit key technologies like AI and deepfakes is one reason for that. One reason is really the rapid adoption throughout the population of a lot of technologies and people putting their lives more online. And I think we can also credit a big investment of resources on behalf of the adversary. Cyber criminals have seen that there's a lot of money to be made on this, and they have really pushed a lot of effort into creating those scams and getting more creative in how to monetize them. And the same with nation state adversaries. They've seen the value that they can get for their own objectives on this, and they have created large and very sophisticated apparatuses in their intelligence services to take advantage of that are very well resourced.
And right along those lines, and this will be my last question for you, is I think a lot of people will watch this and say, well, how vulnerable are we? And at the same breath, how secure are we? As the head of the FBI here in Seattle, how would you answer that question? How vulnerable really are we?
I would say we're definitely vulnerable. As I've said, our attack surface, the things that our adversaries want to take from us and the opportunities for them to get in front of us to try to take those things have definitely increased. But the good news is the cybersecurity community has really come leaps and bounds in terms of protecting them. So I do want to kind of circle back when answering this question to Winter Shield and the purpose behind this. So what Winter Shield is about at its core is building a good practice and mastery of the fundamentals. And that's what each of these 10 things that we're talking about through the campaign is about, is mastering one of those fundamentals. I think if you talk to any elite athlete or musician and you ask them what they credit with their success, I think most of them are going to say mastery of the fundamentals. And that is what we all need to do in terms of protecting ourselves in cybersecurity, is identify what those fundamentals are, build a little bit more mastery, exercise them, but build an ongoing practice. So every one of these 10 steps is something that isn't just something you do and you're done. These are all practices that we should be developing and ongoing. We talked a little earlier about some of the really high value institutions in the state of Washington that our adversaries really want to get into. A lot of them have very good cybersecurity. But what they also have is adversaries who are determined, persistent, and well-resourced, and are going to keep on innovating and are going to keep on coming back until they get in. So those organizations can't rest on their laurels with their high level of cybersecurity. They have to continue to exercise a good grasp of the fundamentals and continue to innovate themselves through an ongoing process. And that's really what Winter Shield is about, is starting that conversation and helping people take the first steps along the road to that process.
Excellent. Well, you've answered all my questions. Is there anything else you want us to relay to viewers right now?
Yes, I think one of the most important things for people to do is, let's see, I'm going to start over on that one.
Go right ahead.
Absolutely. So we've talked a lot about building those fundamentals and building a good practice. But one of the most important things that people can do is reach out for help. And they should do that before there's an incident, but also after there's an incident. So I really encourage particularly companies, large organizations, to reach out to your FBI field office, find out who your cyber agents and your cyber supervisors are, and start to build that relationship with them right now. Because it's really going to help you when there is an incident to know who the people you need to call are and have that trust and understanding built in advance. And it also benefits you because you can just pick up the phone at any time once you know those people and just ask them some questions. Hey, I'm seeing something that doesn't seem quite right. Is it something I should worry about? Yes or no? Our cyber agents are always happy to field those calls. On the other side of an incident, once something happens, time is of the essence, as we've discussed. So it's important to immediately call law enforcement or the government. As we say in the cyber realm, a call to one is a call to all. So you don't have to call the FBI necessarily, although I would encourage you to do so, but please report immediately, because there's certain things that we have to do to preserve evidence, to hopefully help mitigate some of the damage that need to be done immediately. So it's always important as you're getting your incident response process going, or just wondering what to do, give us a call immediately. Let us know what's going on. We can probably help guide you, and we can also start doing the things that we need to do to help protect you and other people out there that might be victimized.